Hi, my name's Ken Brophy. I'm one of the directors at K3 Consulting and also the Asia Pacific Lead Consultant for Alignhawk Solutions. Today I want to talk to you about shared service reviews. Now, often during periods of significant change like we're going through right now, the shared service functions will be challenged around the cost of the function versus the perceived value that's being created. And in response to that challenge, often you see one of four things. Firstly, straight out cost reduction, so FTE reduction. Cost synergies, so bringing teams or functions together. Optimization of what's done, so process and systems change, or actually, they could turn out to be a platform for growth. So an example might be creating a shared insights and data hub for the whole organization. And when you look at challenging shared service functions and what they do, there are often three key concepts. Firstly, not all work is transactional. So be very clear around where the transactional work exists and think about how you drive efficiency there, while making sure you also identify what is that strategic work that we still need to be extremely effective around. Secondly, then, if you identify where that strategic work is, think about how we resource that appropriately while driving the efficiencies elsewhere. And then thirdly, we have to make sure that we are delivering value from a business and business priority perspective, not from what the function thinks is appropriate. So we're always designing from the customer back. Now, with those three concepts in mind, the 4 steps that I will typically take in reviewing a shared service function is, firstly, let's get very clear around the activities. So the first question is, which activities are strategic? So they help the organisation to differentiate itself, help it to deliver its strategy, and making sure that we are delivering the value for the customer, versus where is the necessary work. So that work that we can afford to be at par with our competitors is not necessarily helping us to gain market share or deliver perceived value for the customer, and that's where we can think about how we drive some efficiencies. Secondly, we need to identify the required capabilities. So be very conscious of not falling into the trap of one size fits all. So yes, benchmarks can be great from a input perspective, but don't use them as the absolute definite way of moving forward for your organization, because you need to be very conscious of the mix and the trade-offs that you need to make to deliver your strategy. And then from there, you can start to move into having conversations around the different sides of the cube, which I've discussed previously. So if you think about processes, how do we quickly and robustly change processes to create greater value? From a structural perspective, where do we need to make sure we challenge our model to drive the enhanced effectiveness? Thirdly, information-wise, how can we make sure we're better measuring quality, speed, and efficiency? People, how do we make sure we're attracting the right types of talent for our organisation while being very conscious of what else must change? Continuous improvement, how do we identify and be seen to return value to the organisation? And then lastly, from a leadership perspective, have we got the right types of leaders required to embed the lasting change that's going to be needed within the shared service function? So if the first area of focus is activities, the second is about capabilities, and then thirdly, we need to make sure we create the outcome together. So there's going to be a business need. We've got some functional thinking. So how do we make sure we bring that together to get a fit-for-purpose shared service function? And we need to make sure that we're linking what is required to the business. So how do we bring in those business partners to help us with our design work? And during that, be very conscious of interdependencies and how we mitigate for those. So where is there a connection point between the shared service functions, so it could be finance, technology, HR, into those customer-facing parts of the organisation, and get very clear around how we optimise that. So it could be as simple as clarity of decision rights, or it could be process change. And then lastly, making sure that you scenario test that work. So inviting those senior leaders into the room as you're starting to finalise the design, so that you can actually run scenarios through the changed model to ensure that you're creating value, not eroding it. And then the fourth element of any design work is to make sure that you plan and manage the change, not only at an organisational change level, but also helping manage those individual transitions so you get the behaviour change required to embed the lasting change. So 4 key things: focus on activities, then the capabilities, make sure you create the outcome together, and then effectively plan and manage the change. So the question I'm going to leave you with is, do you have the right tools, capabilities and support to effectively redesign and transform what is needed out of your shared service functions while not impacting the ability to create value for your customers? Obviously, I can only cover off so much in a short video, so if you'd like to know some more, my contact details are on the website. Thanks a lot.